If you've been around the channel for even a little while, you probably know I like Team Fortress 2. I mean, hell, it's my most played game on Steam. I've clocked around 2,000 hours since I first played back in 2017. Now, before you laugh, I know I haven't been around as long as some of the veterans in the space, but I've done enough digging into the game and the community to have a fair grasp on what I'm saying here. And I'll make it real simple so that those of you who don't want to stick around for that long can get the gist of what this is going to be. Scream Fortress 2025 is lazy. That's it. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems that this Scream Fortress, much like the rest of the seasonal updates that have been pumped onto the assembly line by the Gaben gang, is an underwhelming thud, as is to be expected from Valve at this point. But why is it this way? Well, the answer is actually pretty easy, almost redundant to say at this point, but Valve doesn't care about Team Fortress 2 outside of the revenue it generates. Now let's be clear. I'm not mad that a video game company wants to make money. That's obviously to be expected and isn't a bad thing at all. However, this year's offerings aren't nearly up to snuff, at least not enough to warrant the amount of people that'll inevitably throw money at the new crates for a chance at that sweet, sweet purple name. But it looks like people are starting to wake up to the fact that Valve is barely trying anymore. I've seen plenty of places like TF2-related Discord servers, forums, and subreddits starting to allow the problem to be discussed in the mainstream without an immediate accusation of wanting the game to die. Hotbeds of TF2 discussion like r/TrueTF2 don't seem to be pleased with the update either. This user, who was around to announce the update and its contents, described it as just another slop Fortress 2 event, and quite frankly, I wouldn't put it any other way. The comments seem to agree. I wouldn't call it the worst set of cosmetics yet. I don't think anything will top summer 24-25, but I agree with the overall sentiment. The quality of items getting dropped into the game seems to be slipping again after an unusually good run, but to be honest, I didn't expect anything different. I had some hope for this Scream Fortress due to all the buzz around TF2 entering some sort of renaissance period, what with the MVM update being announced and the SDK getting released, but no. Just more candy corn vomit to stick on your head for an hour before you sell it on the market for 23 cents. Before Valve takes their cut, of course. Those aren't the only complaints I'm seeing, though. Unusuals and map bloat being other huge concerns in the community at the moment, which I couldn't be more happy about, actually. It really is cathartic to see the community at large finally opening their eyes to the issue of content bloat and the nearly non-existent quality assurance. The match coordinator is a close runner-up. I've seen plenty of people in servers complaining about queue times. This is because the matchmaker struggles to properly find players to put into games because of how many maps there are relative to the player count. And during Scream Fortress, it gets a lot worse because of the tidal waves of Halloween maps that become available. Thankfully, Valve actually seems to know this, and because of it only added 5 maps this year in an attempt to combat the bloat, but because of how many maps are already there, it's basically a band-aid on a burn victim. I'll probably make a whole video on matchmaking, but if you want one now and of substantially higher quality, I'd recommend watching Zesty Jesus' video titled You Will Not Play. It's a long one, but it more than earns its length. I'll link it below. Okay, let's stop talking about the stuff surrounding the update now and actually talk about the update itself. First up is the hats. Surprise, surprise, they're mostly bad. I like the Half-Life free TV set for the Pyro, and the sleight of hand in its alternative style actually looks really good. As for the rest of the bunch, though, most are just tacky or plain bad to look at. I don't want to go super in-depth here, so here's an algorithmically proven tried-and-true method of presenting my opinion. A tier list. As for the unusual effects, they're the same sludge that we're normally accustomed with. Uninspired drivel for the big guys to push more products. Let's move on. The taunts this time around are fine. The heavy one is sort of funny, but it isn't actually really taunting the person you killed, which is ostensibly what they're supposed to do. The scout stealing the medkit I actually like a lot. It's insulting, it's quick, it's in character. Same goes for the medic one. A quick little jab to kick your enemy while he's down in a funny way. All in all, not bad, but they certainly could be better. Now let's talk about some maps, huh? First up is Cower House, a Halloween-themed powerhouse reskin. I actually really like it. It does more than just a standard holiday paint job most reskin maps get. The map makers actually took care to add a decent bit of extra content. The map itself is still, at its core, powerhouse, so it's standing on a solid base, and all the extra neat little goodies like the flanks that open up and the details in the environment made this one a lot more interesting and fun than something like, say, Bloodwater. I have heard about performance issues on this map, though. I haven't experienced any myself, but your mileage may vary. Afterlife also isn't that bad. The Underworld gimmick is pretty fun and makes Arena actually bearable somehow, and it looks pretty nice on top of it. I did find the layout confusing my first few games. I feel like the map makers definitely leaned a little too much into style over game feel, but that's fine. The map is still fun to play on anyway. I also think the custom announcer they put in is a little bit annoying. Not that the voice actor is bad at all, he's actually pretty good at what he's doing, but I just personally didn't like it. Unfortunately, though, there's currently a server-breaking bug with the map that, as of yet, hasn't been fixed. It causes some of the servers running Afterlife to be unable to reset and therefore can't change maps. It's absolutely ludicrous that something like this got past QA. Things like this are expected maybe from an indie studio or one with tight resources, but this is Valve. Are you seriously telling me they couldn't round up enough people to actually finish a round in order for them to see that this bug exists? I just can't think of any defense for something this egregious. Speaking of broken servers, I unfortunately wasn't able to play Dusker or Devil Cross either. I tried for 20 minutes, and when I wasn't able to actually get put into a game, instead of gambling with the matchmaker, I just decided to go play Darktide for the Emperor. And now's about the time I talk about what is genuinely my least favorite part of this update, the map Marshlands. This map was just plain bad, full stop. It was cramped, it's ugly, it's boring. I don't like anything about it, really. All 5 times I played this map, it was absolutely miserable. Maybe it was just a team balancing giving me the short end of the stick over and over, but I felt like I could barely take a few steps outside of spawn before rounds ended. I think the gimmick of the map itself isn't that bad, but the way it was executed and the environment around it it wasn't great. And honestly, that's the same for the rest of this update. It was a huge disappointment, but honestly I don't think many people were expecting much better. From the broken matchmaking to the bad items to the somewhat alright maps, when I was actually able to experience them, just another huge letdown from the TF team. Hopefully we have better luck with the MVM update. That's all for today, but before I go, I want to give a huge shout out to Lonkador. He helped give some notes on the script for this video, and just makes good Team Fortress 2 videos in general. Definitely check him out. Alright, thanks for watching fellas, I'll see you next time.